All right, we are going. So could you first tell us your names and a little about yourselves?
You go first, Nils.
All
Or,
right.
I mean, you don't have to say
Uh,
your name. You could say like a code name or something.
all right. You got me. All right. I'm gonna go with operator. My name is Operator.
Okay.
A little bit about myself. Family's from Germany. My father's side lived in Germany. Been through many generations of wars: World War One, World War Two. Many stories from different wars. All that. Then further back, mom's side from the UK, Ireland, Poland, and all that. And they were actually one of the first people to land here in the US. It's called the Ark and the Dove. If you look it up, the Ark and the Dove is one of the first couple ships that landed here in the US.
Huh.
And surprisingly, I think for life, I'm part of the Sons of Liberty. It's like some organization called the Sons of Liberty. I haven't really looked too much into that, but yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Um,
So you have a rich sense of history. That's pretty cool.
oh yeah, yeah. I like my family.
Awesome. How about you
So
guys?
I'm fucking lit. So my name is Jackson. My name is Jackson Potts, and I work on a charter boat out of Newport, Rhode Island.
Oh yeah, Newport, of course.
Yeah, I'll shout out the flipping out fishing charters. You're welcome, Captain. So, so
Short and sweet.
short and sweet. So my background is a lot of. I'm a fucking mixed bag. Oh, I don't know if I can swear or not.
You
My bad.
can.
I'm a mixed bag. I'm not straight half German, half American. I have like French, but I'm mostly Native American. So I have a lot from Ohio. I have all Cherokee and I have Pequot. So I'm always outside doing shit, starting fires. So going back. What about you, buddy?
My name's Camden, and I work outdoors doing landscape, manual labor, pretty much every day except weekends. And I'm born and raised Rhode Island. My family's always grown up in Rhode Island. They came over. They were like first settlers here on the Mayflower, signed the Mayflower Compact. And yeah, just keep it short, sweet.
Wow,
That's
that's
all
great.
I got.
You guys are the first people. I'm just writing this down. You guys are the first people I've had from Rhode Island
Yeah, would
on
you look
here,
at
which
that?
is
Well,
pretty cool.
The
cool.
best.
Yeah. Look
Yeah,
at
so
that.
like what do you like what is life like in Rhode Island? Is it and how do you think it's different from everywhere else in the country?
So we are such a small state.
Yeah, I feel like everything's so close. I feel like to me, I feel like oh, who knows Rhode Island? Who knows Rhode Island and all that? It's like oh, we're such a small state. We're surrounded by Massachusetts people, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, and all these like huge states and everything. Rhode Island's just such a small little state, and everything's kind of so close and compact. But like
It's like when you drive down the street, right? You drive down the street and be like, "Oh, I've seen them before." You can't fucking do that in like any other state.
yeah,
It's like, "Oh no, that's fucking Jaquise, whatever the fuck that dude's name is." Like,
no,
"Oh, I've seen him
like
before."
you recognize a
You
lot of
can't
the
fucking
same
do it.
people. Like when you go like the main city down here, Newport is like a huge city where a lot of people like go to walk and everything. And like you'll drive down there and like you'll see the same people, and it's a nice community. Rhode Island's a very very nice community to get along with.
Camden, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of just like it's small. It's kind of closed in. It's kind of really doesn't. It's really simple around here, honestly.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do, so we have to figure out shit to do.
Branch out. Yeah, we have to go to other states and fuck up their shit. It's like yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, that's interesting. Newport, Rhode Island is known as one of the nicest places in America and
Yeah,
also one of the richest.
Yeah.
yeah, and
So
it's known for its sailing. It's actually the best sailing port on like the East Coast is Newport, Rhode Island, because just like
we always have a south wind.
yeah,
This is what I realize. It says on the boat every day, and we see sailors out on like the calmest days. Like sometimes like you're in like kind of like inland, you don't feel any like you get like a little breeze. You always have a sea breeze coming out from Newport.
Yeah,
You go to the
always
point. You go to like Breton's Reef. It's like a big rock structure outside of like Ocean Drive and shit.
Sounds so nice.
You always get a straight south wind. It's
Wow. So
so
did you guys kind of grow up sailing? Is that like a new? Have you guys like
I
all known each other since you were growing up?
No, I mean, I mean, besides from him, he's always been fishing. He's always been sailing, and same thing with myself. I haven't really been fishing. I don't really fish a lot, but I sailed a lot. I sailed on a J-22. My buddy, my dad's friend, he had a J-22, and we used to sail like all throughout Newport and all throughout the coast. But I mean, I've been introduced to sailing a lot, and I enjoy it. But I haven't really got too much into fishing like he has, and he's more experienced in that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm
like
more like him. I don't sail.
ready. We are life smart, as we could say. We like, as people would say, we're street smart. We know how to like deal with shit. He's the person I cheated off in high school. Yeah,
I'm book smart. I'm book smart. I'm book smart, but I learn off everyone else.
You guys are like the Three Musketeers kind of thing.
you should have saw yesterday. Yesterday was fucking
Oh,
nuts.
jeez.
We had like a little house party and had a whole bunch of people here. It was nuts. We had people puking in the bathroom and
Oh my God. Well, so yes. So
you passed out before.
good job. Good job, operator. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, if I didn't know they were going to say their actual names, but like my name is actually Nils. If you want to put
Neil?
that down,
Okay,
I didn't
cool.
know if they were actually going to put their.
That's
it's,
okay. That's
and-
fine. Yeah, there's
Oh,
no
yeah, I
judgment.
didn't-
Like if you want, there's no,
Yeah.
if they want to do it and you don't, like that's.
No,
remember,
yeah,
no
I
pressure.
think like my name's so it's Nils Nils, and my dad named me after the German version of the Scrooge. It's like it's actually a kid who was like
Nils?
very naughty to his like parents and everything, wasn't really doing in school, and some I think it's a troll, or I believe it was a troll, shrunk him down to like a smaller size, and he traveled around, Germany with a goose. And the story is called Nils Holgersson, and he named me after his like favorite book as a child. So
Hey, that's a great story.
yeah.
So
I'm
well, so yeah, so I'm kind of interested in hearing all your perspectives of like growing up. I'm guessing you all kind of grew up in Newport, and um,
Yeah.
like what has life been like growing up in one of the richest places in the world?
So in everywhere we have lower class, medium class, and high class. Like my captain was, Doris Duke, like
Oh.
owner of like Duke College, Duke Tobacco,
Yeah,
and all that. She used to live in Newport. So my captain's stepfather was like a colonial carpentry, like was into that. Doris Duke would buy a whole bunch of mansions off the Newport coast, off of Thames Street, and she wanted them exactly as they were before, but newer. Like she wanted all like the old wood. She wanted all like the older shit. And he would tell me this story that my captain would talk to Doris Duke on the phone, like wanting to get to know her and to get to her father, because back in like the older days, like tobacco was like one of the highest things.
Mm-hmm.
Doris Duke was a only child, and they forgot what it was. Her parents died in a car crash, and she got inherited all the money at the age of 13. And so she got all the money. She had no kids, no nothing. So she kind of died with the money, but she'd always give like money out to charity and all that kind of stuff. And my captain's stepfather got $100,000 because that was like her right hand man. Like, because she'd always be like, "Yo, Sylvia, can you come do this to this house? I just bought it. I want it just the way it was. Do that." When she died, she left Sylvia $100,000, and that was like pocket change to her.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I guess I mean that's a cool story about like your boss, but I guess I'm interested more about like all of your experience, like
Oh,
growing
yeah,
up
yeah.
and, like
I
and
got
yeah,
that.
and I appreciate that story. It's good, but I think that like hearing about like your experience, like do you think it's very different from other places in the country? And yeah, and how do you think it's different?
it's like I'm on the same page as you. Like I like hearing about a whole bunch of like me and Cam went to New Jersey, not New Jersey, New Hampshire a couple days ago, and we didn't want to leave.
Oh yeah.
They have like I don't want to get political. They have a whole bunch of Trump signs and all bunch of that stuff, and then you come down here and we have none of that. We have a few signs here, a few signs there. They're more into like politics, and we're more of like an easygoing kind of state.
Yeah, Rhode Island's very like they're very very quiet.
Neutral.
Yeah, in a way. Well, we're kind of neutral slash like democratic and everything, but like everyone's quiet around things.
Yeah.
But, like when you go to like other like New Hampshire, like I went to New Hampshire for myself, and I took a 2-day trip to like clear my mind and everything, and like he was in a separate area in New Hampshire, and I was actually near Mount Washington in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah,
And,
beautiful mountain. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and went up there and everything, and no matter where you went, everyone, it was just, you saw, like, political stuff everywhere. So, like, I mean, like, personally, like, with growing up on Aquidneck Island, where Newport is located on Aquidneck Island, I lived on Aquidneck Island for, I think, 14 years of my life, and then I moved to Tiverton here, for 5 years. I think it'll be 5 years in September, or no, it's 5 years in December. But I've pretty much grown up, living. Didn't really get too much. I was in a private school for 9 years, so I was very isolated to things. I never really went out to go with people to go to Newport and everything. I was very isolated, very quiet kid and everything. My brother went into the Marines, served in Afghanistan, and he was away, and then parents got divorced early in my life. But then, I mean, it's like my relationship with both of my parents are very fine. Everything's okay, but just things didn't work out.
Yeah, but that affects anyone,
No, yeah, no, definitely. But and I got introduced to public school where I met these two fellows. And I don't regret like, oh, should I have gone to a private high school and everything? Should I have gone to this? I don't regret my decision. Go to Tiverton High School, meet new things, and learn what's it like to be in public school, because I wore the same uniform for 9 years. I had no sense of like outfit or anything. I was like, all right, where do I go? I don't know what to wear and anything, but learning new things is definitely good for people. You get to learn and experience things. Trial and error is what life is all about. You try it, you fail it, and then it's like, all right, next time I do that, I won't do that. Even like my dad, when he moved here to the U.S., he did not know like anything. Like he didn't know anything about the American life. He didn't know how to pay, like do the gas, or like go inside and pay it, or come like do it right there and pay. Like he was so scared to do anything, and it was actually pretty funny because I was actually catching up on my dad's accent when I was younger, and the teacher would actually get mad at me for saying words wrong. So my dad got scared of like saying words around me because he didn't want me to like fail or anything, or he didn't want me to learn German because I'd be saying words wrong. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, he wanted to help you out as best as he could, and he thought that he didn't want to kind of like get in your way of your learning.
No, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
almost, but yeah.
Oh. So Camden, how about you, man? What is your story of Newport?
So it's kind of weird how we have like some of the most money in the world, but then like our roads are pretty shitty. Not gonna lie, we had a pretty run down school, and like I played football for the high school, and we were wearing like the same outfits that they had like 20 years ago, the same helmets, the same everything. So it's like we have a lot of money, but they don't really put it too much back into the community, honestly.
Interesting.
It's more private money than it is public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like Newport is like pretty much.
But the taxes are wicked high here.
Yes, taxes here are stupidly high.
I don't think he cares about the taxes.
No, but
Well, no, I guess I care about. I mean, I care about your story, and I am interested in hearing your perspective on politics and stuff. And I mean, this is a channel where everyone can come and kind of talk about their thoughts, and where conversation is kind of the priority, freedom of speech. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'd be really interested in kind of hearing all of your thoughts of kind of where we are in our country right now and how you think things can improve and what you think are the bad things that are happening.
I mean, there's a lot. I think there's a lot of bad than there are good. I think that, in society wise, in other cities and other states and everything, other cities and are, taking things, way like, I think it's becoming out of hand and it needs to be handled correctly and right. And no doubt about it, laws change throughout the years and history. When the civil rights movements were start working or started to do things or start, people would be scared to like walk out, in front of the leader, representing what they believed in, and then the police would, police brutality was way worse than it was. The thing is back then it was hit first, ask questions later. It's now become the opposite. You have to ask questions later, and like the rules of engagement is, you can't do anything until things happen to you. So like society wise, it's becoming out of hand. I think that, if you look at pictures, what a peaceful protest is and what a riot is, you don't see people burning trash cans and looting and everything. That's not peaceful. That becomes a riot and unorganized message. The real message is that everyone needs to be equal, everyone needs to be peaceful, everyone needs to understand each other and understand each other's pain. Because, I don't understand your pain because I don't walk in your shoes. You don't understand my pain because you haven't walked in my shoes yet. I'll only understand what you're going through unless you tell me about it. I'll sit here and listen to your story. I'll gladly, oh, maybe you and I have something in common. Maybe we don't have something in common. Like, oh, I feel bad about what you've gone through, and maybe you'll have some sympathy or some empathy what I've gone through, for these past few months or anything. It's like listening. I think people just need to listen. I mean, I think we're doing more action than we are listening, and it's people need to understand to hear each other. We need to make sure that I understand your message. Will I agree with that? Will I agree with it? Maybe. Will I agree? Will I critique it? Possibly. But that's up to you. What you can take from what I understand from your message. And basically, it's like I could say so much, but I'd rather not. But
I mean, I think I'm interested in hearing Camden's thoughts of things, but I would like to hear. I mean, the things that you're saying, like, oh, like I don't know if I should, like that stuff is like what that is it's showing vulnerability, and that's where the substance in conversation lies, right? Like that's the stuff that we actually need to be talking about if anything is going to happen for people in this society, and so I'm interested in hearing Camden's, and then I'd love to kind of hear what those things are that you are kind of energized about, because I can totally see that energy.
Oh yeah, I understand. I like the thing is like I know everyone, all of my friends and everything. It's like, oh yeah, I support that person. It's like, do you really know what they're doing? It's like, do you know what's going on rather than listening to your phone or listening to your computer? Do you really know what's going on? Or are you just are you a follower or are you a listener and a follower? It's like you just have to understand things and then not like, oh, my friend is supporting that person, and then all right, I'm a support that person. Do you know why they support that person? Probably not. So you need to. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is key. You need to, teach yourself to like, oh, what's right and what's wrong, what you believe in, what's right for you, what's right. It's just everything. So yeah, I can go on. I can go on.
Like you said about the peaceful protesting, I don't think that's peaceful at all. And then I feel like everyone like hates our president that we have now when he's actually in reality a really good president, but they just hate him right off the bat because he's a racist or a homophobic, and then they go and support the other side, which in reality, the other side has said a lot more racist and homophobic stuff than the Republican side, which I think is pretty funny. And I mean, like, you'll see people that they're followers, like you said, they don't do their research on it. Because if they did, then they'd have definitely different thoughts about our president now. But they just never gave him a chance and are super quick to assume. So it's like you got to do your research. And honestly, I think there's a lot. This year was freaking crazy, but it was all going well until like COVID hit, and then the whole Black Lives Matter protests and riots, that was crazy too. And it's just been going downhill for 2020. So hopefully 2021 is a little bit different. But honestly, if Joe Biden gets in for president, then I feel like it's going to be a huge, I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm kind of worried if he does get in.
Yeah, a lot of people on both sides of the like whether or not people, you call yourself Republican or Democrat, like,
Yep.
and even independents. I mean, there are more independents, registered independents, than there are either Democrat or Republican. So, a lot of people have expressed worry. I would love to kind of hear your thoughts of like the idea, because I don't think that many people have kind of expressed the idea that that the Democratic side is kind of saying more racist things or more homophobic things. Could you kind of go into that a little more? What your thoughts are there?
Yeah. So, like in an interview in the late 1990s, it had Trump saying, like, if you like a woman as a man or if you like a man as a man, he said, whatever, it's just not for me, but whatever makes you happy. So go for it. Whatever you do that makes you happy is what you should do to be happy. And then in, I think, 2016, it had Hillary Clinton saying about how a marriage is a sacred bond between a man and a woman and a man and a woman only. So that was a little like, all right. And then there's also another thing of Joe Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, then you're not actually black, which I kind of thought was a little weird. Like, that kind of comes across as racist to me. But I mean, I feel like everyone's so quick to assume, but Trump says he supports gay marriage. He's not racist, I don't think. I mean, I haven't heard anything really racist. I mean, I have heard the things about what he said about women, which was obviously wrong, but I don't think everyone said some fucked up shit before, but they weren't being recorded. I mean, everyone said stuff that they're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that, but they just weren't being recorded because they didn't have huge...
Yeah, censorship wasn't a thing back then. Since technology and social media has grown, censorship has now become a thing. That's I mean, everyone, like, you look at all these, political people who are coming into office or so, and then they're getting judged for what they did in the past. It's like, whatever you're doing now will affect you in the future, because everything that you're doing now is being recorded, it's being watched. People are now being aware of more things. I mean, back then, no one cared what you did or what you said. Censorship was not a thing. You could say whatever you wanted. You could probably still do, but then you're going to get judged by it. And I'm not saying you weren't going to get judged by it before, but since people are, social media, everything is easy. Everything's easier to get out. Back then, it wasn't. You flip up, put the antenna up and then call someone. You open up the book, you find that person. And now it's easy. It's just like 1, 2, boom. It's the messages are coming out faster because technology is growing and
everyone's soft nowadays. I feel like too. Like, you go in, we went to public school. If I went into school and I didn't know him and I said a bad comment about his shirt, you'll get called into office later that day for bullying him because you said something bad, like, oh, I don't like the color of your shirt. That's an ugly shirt. Then you're automatically a bully and you're getting suspended.
Interesting. Well, yeah, and I've talked to a bunch of people on here about bullying, and for you guys, like, what is bullying? Were you guys bullied when you were younger, and what does that mean?
I was a little bit teased here and there. I wasn't like brutally or abused in that way. I was more verbally abused.
We're talking about bullying, Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I was more verbally abused rather than physically abused. I was, like I said, I came from a private school. I didn't really have thick enough skin and I came from a small class and everything, and I was introduced to new people. I really didn't know new people, and I played soccer. And, my freshman year was okay. I was getting used to everybody, but then the class below me, they were able to interact with my class and upperclassmen, better than I was able to interact with them. And, I wasn't really, the top guy to be talked to or the top guy to have the ball passed to me because I didn't have that interaction of, bondage or communication with everyone else. So that affected me and my soccer high school career. And, it wasn't what I expected or what I wanted to. And I tried fixing it. I tried working harder, but no matter what I did, nothing really helped me out. So, but, I did club leagues. I did club leagues with one coach, but then the other head coach didn't see the talent that I had. And it hurt me because, my future goal is to become a professional soccer player in Germany. So it just sucks when your high school career didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, because you could say that, oh, let me look at your high school record. It's like, oh, you really didn't do anything. Now, how am I supposed to know how you could, show me what you've done? But my dad thinks he sees something that, he doesn't see in any of my other teammates, is that I understand how gameplay works on the field. I understand where you have to go. I understand what needs to happen in order for something else to happen, rather than how I saw everyone else on my team just scatter and just play mindlessly, rather than how I see it. It's like, oh, I know that you have to be there. That's your job, that you have to be in that position in order for me to cross it to you, because that's what your job is and what you need to do in order for the gameplay to happen. But, the coaches just apparently didn't see that in me, and they just kind of prepared for their next team rather than working on the team right now. So once my class was leaving, or my class got to the end, the coach was working on his next 3-year teammates. You know what I'm saying? Like, he worked on the junior squad, he worked on the sophomore squad, and he picked up some freshman squad people on the varsity team rather than run the team that he had now. So
I see.
we had some opportunities to, get to the finals, but, we just weren't, good enough for it. The coach didn't play people, but yeah.
I'm kind of interested in getting back to this idea of bullying and stuff, and like, for you guys, like, what is bullying, and how do you guys think that we can kind of, I don't know, get better at deterring it, or having it happen less?
So bullying will always be in human culture. Everyone always thinks that you're going to be better than another person, and everyone thinks that your shit doesn't stink, basically. So, like, ever since back in the old days, you had, like, slavery, and people would, like, bully the African Americans and stuff like that. Now we have, like, cell phones, and then, like, I'm just going to pick on you because I love you. So, say, for example, now we all have cell phones and technology, and you can make fake stuff. You can make fake Instagrams, because this happened to me before. Like, there's a reason why me and my ex-girlfriend broke up. One of my other friends made a fake account and told my ex-girlfriend, like, I was cheating on her and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know it until it was him, until basically us three figured it out. So, off topic, but, like, say...
Well, so, but in a way, like, you feel that was bullying, right? Is that why you brought that up?
Yeah, I felt that's more of like a cyber.
Cyber.
Now we don't really have any physical bullying.
Yeah, it still makes you feel like shit, though. Like, someone did something that makes you feel like crap, and like, why do you think he did that? Why do you think that person did that to you?
Because
it probably makes them feel better.
I hate doing this shit. So I hate it. So in high school, I got varsity sophomore year. I was in homecoming corps. I was in all this kind of shit. And I had girlfriends and shit. And everyone, like, I fucking hate saying this. Like, I wish it didn't happen. Like, everyone, like, wanted to be me and always wanted to be around me to have those kind of friends. And I'd always let them in, like, so to say. And then you'd have other people like Nils that would have my back all the time, and have Cam would have my back, and I like them more than the people that want to be around me, because I know the people that want to be around me to hang out with other people. I'm not going to say any names, but because they probably won't even see his channel, because he's a bum. This kid thinks he's better than everyone and will take it out on everyone that has better stuff than him. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have to say the name, but I was like,
Yeah. Well,
I know where this is going.
Well, this is the thing too. Is like, by saying his name, it's also continuing to generate like animosity and hatred, really. I mean, or like negative energy, right? Which isn't.
No, you want to hear the best thing about this? He's my best friend.
Well, what does that mean? What does that mean?
So,
Like, why?
I always bring people back because I always think people have second chances. Like, this happened through my whole entire life. So, did they explain their life story while I was gone?
I explained, yeah.
So, my life story.
They talked a little bit, yeah, but let's hear yours, yeah.
So, my dad was in the 103rd Field Artillery in Iraq. Like, right after 9/11, like, people were sent over to go kill all the terrorists. My dad was there and was KIA in Iraq when I was 2. So I always had people, like, step into my life and, like, try and be there, but I didn't know what was going on, really. And I'd always have people step in, and I'd always have people leave, and then they'd come back and act like nothing happened. So I always grew up with that mentality of, oh, you left, but you can come back. Yeah, I believe you have second chances. But then you always have that thing in the back of your mind knowing they're going to leave again. And then, like, I have 3 tattoos. This is how it goes. I have a cancer ribbon on my arm of my Aunt Sue and my pop. I have a gold star for my dad, and I have a dragonfly on my leg for my pop. Not my pop, my mom. So my mom's always been there for me since day one. And I always know people like Dan, like the person I was talking about before, that will leave you and always make fun of you and be the smaller person, even though you know you're the bigger person, and always try and prove you're wrong, but you know you're right. You know what I'm understanding at that?
Yeah.
And my uncle on my aunt's side, my aunt was like my best friend growing up. We'd always go, like, I'd always be in the woods with her. I would always do that. And then a couple years ago, she passed away of cancer. So, and then a couple months later, my grandfather that stepped into my father died of cancer. So, like, you can't understand, like, that they leave. And I always grew up with that mindset, like, they're going to come back, since everyone left, and they're going to come back. But they never did. So I kind of bring that into my friend group, and like him, I always help him out. Like, I'm not bringing that into it, but I'd always help him out trying to get into, like, social stuff. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just first thank you for putting yourself out there, because talking about that stuff is not easy. And what that does is it requires strength. You know, it requires courage just to be yourself and to talk about that and to know that about yourself, you know? And yeah, so I thank you for that. I think I interrupted you. You were going to continue, right?
No, you're good. So after, what were we on? Bullying? Oh, yeah, about that person.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
And
so, right.
You always get that one person in a group that always wants to be the king shit of everything, right? You always see that in, like, a group of people. You're going to be like that around every person and try and get every girl, get every new iPhone, new truck, and all that kind of stuff. But this person does it to everyone. it just hurts more that because me and Cam are best friends with Dan, and he could back me up on this. That I have a I don't know if you know trucks. I have a 2500 Dodge Cummins. It's a diesel truck, and he has a GMC Sierra. I have a diesel. He has this. He would make up so much shit like, "Oh, your transmission's bad, this and that. I could smoke you in this. I could smoke you in that." But he does it the same thing to Cam, and he does it the same thing to everyone.
Interesting.
Wouldn't that be some bullying? Since
Well, yeah. Well, I think we're getting on to something really interesting, right? Because it's like, I think like people like that, like this friend of yours who I'm gonna there you care about him. Maybe you see a bit of
he was my brother.
yourselves in him.
He was my brother through high school. Then, like throughout high school, like my aunt died in sophomore year of high school 3 years ago. And then I saw the real side of people. Like when someone dies, you see the real side of people. Like I saw my whole family fucking change. Like I'd be the rock, and I'd help my mom, and I'd help my nana, and I'd help everyone else, and I don't get shit in return. And just to see my nana, my mom smile after that would be enough for me. And people call me like asshole, fuck boy, fucking like I go on Omegle and they're like, "Oh, you look like a fuck boy."
Yeah,
I'm like,
we got told that.
"Thanks." Like, I don't take anything to heart. That's the thing. That's the reason why I can say this shit. So I could be like, say that whole story to you, and a person would be like, "Oh, that sucks," and then go off and be like, "Oh, my dad's the best," and say that. I go, awesome. My dad was the best too. Like I have this, like you said, I have the strength to do that. I have the strength, the courage, and all that shit to do that. I know a lot of people that, like, if I said that to my friend, he'd lose his shit. Like if I came back and he said. He goes, "Oh, my dad's the best." I go, "Well, my dad's better," but I'd never say that. And I say that to him. He'd come up with these reasons out of his fucking ass to say how his dad's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I mean there's so much to your story. And you know, like first I have to say too that like rarely when I've talked to like three people at a time, like maybe 2 or 3 times, but rarely are they so candid as you are and are so vulnerable like you are being right now when there are other people in the room. So that just goes to show just how confident you are in yourself, and that's strength. Like
the only reason why I can do this with these people, because with him, I help him through shit. And he can say yes. Yeah. And I've seen both of them in their vulnerable side. And I could be the strength that they have. But now they see me in my vulnerable side, and then I just think that's even.
Yeah. Because
say, like, I got their back whenever me, and I want them to have my back whenever I need them.
It's been proven. Yeah. You know.
So we just have, all 3 of us have just a brotherly bond.
There's a lot of stuff I kind of want to ask, but I'm gonna just go with 2 different things. One is that it seems like this guy who did this fake Instagram account and did that, that like he is kind of the crux of a lot of kind of pain and social anxiety that kind of goes around your friend group, right? And
yeah, he's.
I wonder, like, to what extent do you think? I mean, friendship is about vulnerability and honesty, right, and trust, right? Like, if you Camden and you Jackson both went to him and told him actually how you felt about what he has done, like, have you done that? Have you talked to him about
because we know how the outcome's gonna come.
Yeah, we've tried.
We tried. and we tried once, and he made jokes.
See, like I don't. How do you guys handle? Like, how do you guys feel about that?
We feel like we
Kind
feel
of ignored it now.
we feel like we ignore it now because, as we said, like in the beginning of
It
this
feels like
conversation,
nothing's gonna change. Yeah.
like remember how you asked how Rhode Island is? Rhode Island is like our town. I see the same people going to work every single day, and then nothing changed. I could be like, "Oh, ready? 5 minutes down the road, I'm going to see this white SUV," and little do you know, you see this white SUV coming down the road. We see Dan everywhere, since he lives 2 minutes down the road from me. I live 10 minutes away from Cam, and I live 10 minutes away from Nils. We see everyone everywhere, and it's not like it's going to change. It's like
Well, I just wanna ask,
Yeah.
like, that if you went to him and like I think what's interesting about what you've talked about before is that this idea of strength of like if you were to be on here and you were to talk about your dad and then
Yeah.
another Omegle guy were just like yeah my dad's great
yeah,
to be able to like to look at the person and say like that's awesome or like
Yeah.
it's almost it's kind of pushing down the emotion instead of letting yourself be honest about it in a way,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
Like if you were kind of honest about your feelings with Dan with Cameron or Camden, if you went in with Camden and were like honest with Dan about how you felt about it, maybe do you think that could change him? And that if he didn't change, that you were just like because people like that are toxic, and like
Yeah.
and they don't. You are a very cool person. All of you are. Like you're all like, like gonna be a professional soccer player, and you're just like, Niels, like you're curious and you're very articulate and you think in terms of paragraphs, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I can feel. Yeah, you could generally get me. Yeah, no.
yeah,
that's
and I think it's interesting that like these people that are with you right now who are allowing you to be in a vulnerable spot, those are the people that help you grow. And so
yeah.
I guess sorry, I'm rambling, but my
Yeah.
this is all leading to the question, why keep a person that is toxic like that around in your life that has done something like that to you and yeah, why, I guess.
I ask myself the same question. I ask it every time he pisses me off. I ask it every time he sucks up, because every time me and Cam kind of like push away, like he did some shit the other day, like a couple weeks ago, where me and Cam kind of went. I just saw his true colors right there, and everyone else around him saw his true colors. So I'm like, you know what? Let's kind of like push away and kind of just get away and see if us not being there will change him. Like a week later, he kind of notices, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," blah 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 blah, ramble on. And I'm like, "All right, whatever." And then I kind of just do the same thing. I keep trying to push away and push away. If we were in this group chat with that person, like if we were talking right now with that person, he would have already been like, "Yeah, fuck this." That's the kind of person he is. He doesn't want to get down deep into his emotions because he's fucking scared about it.
That's it.
He's scared about letting himself out and seeing how sad and
He's scared to lose his reputation in a way.
he's a 245 lineman, 245-pound lineman. Varsity his freshman year because he was big, and he goes, "Oh, my sister was a senior in high school, and I got in with all the seniors." I'm like, I walked into high school. I did band. I walked into high school, did band. I played my baseball, got my spot sophomore year. I'm just like fucking you. Big whoop-de-doo. We're all going through the same shit. And then what happens when your sister leaves and all the seniors leaves? You had no bonds with any of your freshman friends. You had no bonds with sophomores or fucking juniors. So when you kind of like dwindle down, you kind of see, like, you could see Dan kind of like crack open a little bit and then fucking grill or goose up. That's how he is. Like, me and you are not different. Like, we're different in a way, but we're kind of the same. Ask him. I can read people like a fucking book.
Nils is like,
they show it. Yeah.
If you kind of show something to me, I can read you like a book.
Yeah.
I've done it to him. And
I'm easy to read. I'm a 2-page book. That's it.
oh, no.
Okay,
Don't say
no good.
that. Yeah.
And like with Dan, he gets his times where he can be a complete douche or he can be a nice person. I want him sophomore year when we started getting together, when we were starting to like be friends and all that kind of stuff. We do shit every day. He'd sleep in my house all the time. My mom loves him. He loves my mom. I love his mom. I love his family. But I don't have the heart to tell my mom that Dan's being a dickhead. That's how he is. It's the same thing with Cam.
Can I eat this?
Yeah. And it's kind of like that. It's like my mom knows he's a complete asshole, but he was so close to be sophomore year and junior year that you can't really change it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be here right now. I'm supposed to be up north in Maine going to college and getting away from all this. I told myself senior year, I'm not staying around here for college.
That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat here, Killer. And I didn't want to be around all this toxic shit because I wanted to see new faces. I wanted to see new personalities. I wanted to see a whole different thing. But then hearing the news that I'm staying, I was like, I'm staying with these fucking people for another year.
You can't microwave this?
Yes, you can.
It's fucking ramen noodles.
It says you can't.
Yes, you can.
Do not microwave.
Add water.
Fuck you, it says put boiling water in it.
But
So
No. You put your water in, and then you microwave the water when it's in there.
yes,
You know, but that's what it says not to do.
I do the same shit
it's you're.
Suck it.
yeah, full sentence. Just wait.
Take off the top and
That's good.
All right. Any more questions?
Well,
Keep asking away.
I think that I think, you know, like I would say the majority of people that watch this channel or who I've talked to have not been people that support Trump. And my belief is that every human being comes from a different perspective.
Yeah. I grew up in Ohio. I grew up west.
Cool.
And I go every summer and I do corn and I know all the southern and western people, if you know what I mean. They like their pew-pews, they like their rights, they like...
If that blows up, not my fault.
Well,
my Mexican coworkers eat that for lunch, and they put that in the microwave, so you're fine.
Is that water good to drink?
Yes, Sam. You were saying?
yeah, well, I guess my question for you is that, you know, for you, why should people who are kind of in the liberal bubbles, why should they look at people who support Trump as humans first and not as Trumpies first? Like, what is, like, could you kind of talk about that?
I speak for you. I'm Republican. I hunted as a child. I fished as a child. And he does landscaping. I do work and he works on a farm. He gets paid he gets paid good and my boss gets paid good. He gets paid by the state. He gets paid by all this because he does a commercial charter. Commercial charter, you sell fish to all around the country. Like, you get paid for that. Like, when our boat broke down, the state paid us. but we should open our eyes and realize we're all one person, but we all have different thoughts on things. Since we all have different thoughts on things, we can't really. What's the word I'm thinking of, Nils?
Wait, what are you talking about? So you're talking about
We're all like one person.
since we have different ideas, communication is kind of difficult because I mentioned this earlier before where, you know, and since everyone has their own opinion, everyone has their own thoughts, you know, you're going to have complications with like what I agree and what you agree and what he agrees and what other people agree on. Like I said, like I mentioned that, like, you know, if you say something and everything and I agree on your opinion, I may agree with it or I may not agree with it, but I can try and critique it so that we can come into an agreement. But if you're so far gone to what you believe in and everything,
To be on listening, right?
exactly. So it's like, here's the thing. So my mom at work has coworkers that will not vote for Trump only because they just don't like of his past and they just don't like him as a person. As a person, she said that Joe Biden could be disabled and not do a thing and fuck up the whole entire country. I just won't vote for Trump because I don't like him as a person. Now that's what people have in their mindsets. People in this world, you know, I will say that I feel sorry for them because they can't open their mind and understand and actually realize what's good. Like, you know, if you go to a liberal or you go to a Democrat person, you know, they're going to say bad things about him and they're only going to mention the bad things about him because, you know, that's what they believe in. But, you know, they won't accept the fact that he's done good. He's done good by allowing people to go back into work. He's allowed people to have a safe state by giving money to each state and having a stimulus pack so that the state can pay small businesses so that small businesses can stay open. But in our state, our governor kept all that money and not give it to small businesses, and so that our small businesses are closing and things aren't going swell. But the thing is that why would you not give the money to the small businesses? Because if you do, they're going to make money and they're still going to pay tax, so you're still getting the money back. You're just helping a small business stay open and that so it can grow, you know, wealthy, and then it pays taxes back to the state. So you're getting the money back, but our governor has kept the money for future reasons and not use it for the reason that it should have been, you know, brought to. And states are like, oh, we need more money, but like Trump's like, I'm not going to give you more money because you haven't used the money that I gave you. And it's like, that's what's the problem is that, you know, I'm not going to say Republicans are, you know, I mean, I'll say it because, you know, I support Trump and I don't support Biden.
Holy shit, that's hot.
But the thing is that I thought you were talking about me. I was like, what?
Thank you.
Ramen. Like,
Yeah.
damn, that's hot that you support Trump. No, but the thing is that, you know, you go on CNN, you go on, you know, MSNBC, you go on all these other stations that, you know, are, you know, Democratic or liberal or whatever, and, you know, talk shows, and, you know, they'll joke around about the president, you know, and, you know, talk bad about him, but they won't accept the fact that he's done good. And, you know, I'll say that he's opened up jobs, and like I said, he's done all those facts, but all you're saying is that you're looking at opposite because you don't like him as a person. And the thing is that if you look at Trump and you look at other presidents before him, Trump says it how it is. If you look at his rallies, if you look at his speeches, if you look at his interviews, he says how it is. He does not feel, I mean...
He doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Exactly. But the thing is that, like, maybe his wording could be a little bit different, but he's not scared to say it how it is so that everybody can understand. You know, if you talk to a car dealership person, he's going to blur out words and things that you probably don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, I'll buy that car or whatever, you know, and you're going to have more questions than answers when you talk to a person that talks at a higher, you know, I'll say intelligent level, or, you know, it's like, oh, you know, your words have to be, you know, proper and everything, and then you have to, show yourself, kind of so that, certain people only understand you. But the thing is that, like I said, if you look at his rallies, if you look at his interviews, if you look at anything he says it how it is so that everybody can understand rather than certain people can understand. And like I said, you look at news stations will have their opinions about him, but it's just that when you talk to civilians and your friends and family members, you wonder what their thoughts are. It's like, why don't you like this person? Oh, because I don't like him as a person. That's not a good reason why you should not vote for that person.
Well, let me ask Camden here. Camden, what do you think? What do you think Democrats are missing? Like when with like the whole, what do you think Democrats are missing about Trump?
I thought you were going to say brain cells.
Information. I don't think they're educated enough on the subject.
How
on both sides of the party.
Yeah, how can people become more educated, you think?
Instead of just watching the news, they actually have to do research, like online about it. Actually, like, put in half an hour, maybe more, into research on both sides before making a decision. A lot of these Democrats, you ask why they support the other side or why they don't support this side, and they have nothing to say because they don't have any information on it. They're just going off of one thing that they've heard, or yet they're going and they're following what all their friends are doing.
Where do you go to do research on both sides? What would you recommend? Where would you recommend going to check that stuff out?
Look it up. Just look up like their past, their present now,
what they've done.
Yeah.
Are you saying just about people or?
I mean, yeah,
issues?
you kind of. Well, I mean, the people and on the issues too. You could do both on that matter.
So there are no particular websites that you would just say look at.
Well, I just look it up and then I just hit a bunch of different ones because one website might say one thing, the other one might say another thing, and it could be biased or not biased. I mean, obviously, I'd go with the not biased one. You can probably get more of a straight up.
Yeah, straightforward answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's good, bad, or whatever it is.
Jackson, what are your thoughts? What do you think the Democrats are missing from this?
I take it a whole different way. I like Trump, and I don't like Biden in a way. I don't like Biden because no hate. I think Biden's just a puppet. Biden has a really good picture, but nothing behind it. How many years did he run in the office?
He's been in office for 47 years.
He's been in office for 47 years. He's been
47. He's been in there for a long time.
All right, I'm just going to say, he's been in there a long ass time. He keeps fucking distracting me. He's been in there a long ass time, and Trump was just, he goes, fuck, I want to be president, so I'm just going to flash my money and go for it. And everyone's seeing Biden's been in this office, but Trump's just an asshole. But you don't understand if something happens to Biden, who's underneath Biden? Who's telling Biden what to say if he doesn't know what to say? Who's going to tell that person what to tell Biden? You know what I'm understanding?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In my opinion, Trump says what he wants to say. Biden's just going to listen to his vice president and Congress people he's just going to be like, what do I got to say? And they're going to tell him this in 1 year, and then he's just going to go and say that exact same thing away. If you can remember.
So what do you think, what do you think that, is it the democratic institution that people just don't trust, you think, or that you guys don't trust, or are there people on the Democratic side that you do kind of think are straight shooters? Or what do you think about that?
I don't think about that. I think
you think more person by person.
I think person by person. I think the Democratic side is more disrespectful in my way. So Trump did the army, made a better army, made a whole better military. This is the reason why I like Trump. He kind of lifted the boots kind of off the ground a little bit and made it more planes, helicopters. You know what I mean, Nils?
He made it safer so that we wouldn't have to put that many troops into battle. He was able to, I would say ended the longest war in America, which is the 18-year war of Afghanistan and all Iraq and all that. And so, well, not Iraq because Iraq was his own thing, but Afghanistan and all that type of fighting again. He pulled troops out because he was like, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're just pretty much done.
Are all of the soldiers out of Afghanistan right now?
I could not tell you.
Not all of them.
I couldn't. Not it.
There's not as many.
They're not there for a. It's not like, here's the thing. When my brother went into Afghanistan, it was in 2008 and 2009, I believe, and it was different. 10 years, 11, 12 years ago, the situation over there was different than it is now. And the thing is that things have changed. Presidents have, done operations to lower the risk of a huge leader to grow and make his ideology grow into other people and influence them to do bad things because, their ideology is better than everyone else's. So in the Obama, Osama bin Laden was killed. I think that's pretty much about all that Obama did. And the only thing that Obama also did was that he left the military's equipment to the Afghanistan military.
Are there some? I think this is all interesting information. Is there some kind of reading or website that you would recommend checking all of this information out? Because I'll put in the description below. Just because I you know what I mean.
Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is actually a pretty good one. Al Jazeera is a kind of a Middle Eastern type of news.
Yeah, it's out of Dubai. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Al Jazeera. Yeah. So I like that website. They, like I said, you get a lot of information from there. I can't say too much about any other websites that I've looked up because I can't remember off the top of my head. But back to what Obama's administration did is that they decided to step out of Afghanistan and give weapons and the type of vehicles to the Afghan military. But the Afghan military are not as well trained as our U.S. military. Our military is probably one of the best, well trained, and is one of the greatest militaries in the entire world because we're so high. We just have a very good military, but with Afghans, not really too well. Kind of not. Their people, come from very poor situations, and I'm not saying anyone from the military didn't come from poor situations because you can go to the military and you have nothing. Because I'm just saying, they don't have the same mentality as the U.S. military. So what happened in the Obama administration is that we gave the Afghan military all of our weapons and we kind of left. What happened? The Afghan military retreated a lot and gave it all to the enemy. So that's why you're seeing all these BTRs. That's why you're seeing all these, rocket-propelled rocket launchers on the Taliban, ISIS, is because the Afghans and, other military from the Middle East, weren't strong enough to handle, the Taliban, ISIS, these other radical groups in the Middle East. They weren't able to handle themselves. So what Trump did is that, he put troops in and everything and, trained them well, but didn't just give them and just leave. He kind of brought down ISIS. He brought down the Taliban kind of, but, you're not seeing that many stories of ISIS growing. Like, ISIS almost controlled all of Syria. If it wasn't for, Trump and, our generals and everything to lower the growth of ISIS. It's like, how does like how are you not supposed to say, oh, that was a good decision that you took out ISIS leaders and other leaders from other political countries, because what they did was wrong. I don't know the name.
That's okay.
Of,
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting is like there are a lot of facts out there, and at least with things like this, like from my understanding, like Obama was kind of like went rampant with the drone airstrikes. Like he killed an unbelievable amount of civilians and
Yeah.
also
He was
ISIS terrorists.
Yeah.
Well, hold, just let me finish here.
Go ahead.
Is like I think that like Obama was extremely active in the Middle East and killed a lot of unnecessary people, but also killed like ISIS commanders. And from what I understand, Trump has been very wishy-washy with his withdrawal of troops in Afghanistan. Even though and I think it's interesting because people say like, oh, like Trump says what he means, and I think that's true in some cases, but then when it comes to things like this, he says one thing and then he kind of flip-flops, and I see a lot of flip-flopping with that, at least in terms of his kind of like military involvement in the Middle East. The thing he hasn't flip-flopped on is the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which he tore up immediately after getting office, and I think that was probably one of my favorite things that he's done as president. But I also like I wonder if he really wanted to truly be a bipartisan president, why he didn't kind of push for infrastructure spending right at the beginning of his presidency, because that was a bipartisan effort that both parties were interested in and that he just kind of put to the wayside. So I just want to kind of like put all that stuff out there just to put it out, and because we're running out of time, I think we've been talking for about 45 minutes or so, and I would just kind of like to, I know it goes fast.
No, like I
but
said, I could talk. Yeah.
But I would, before we go, I just kind of would like to get a quick kind of last word from all of you, even from Camden, even though he's chowing down on that ramen. I'd be interested in just hearing like if you have just some advice about how to be a good person. And yeah, and so just like a very short kind of thought. Whoever wants to go first.
You go first? I was always told, you learn how to do something, and then you learn that you don't want to do it. So I've come from, I've worked a lot of jobs. I did construction, and I work on a farm. And the thing is that, I learned how to do all that type of stuff, but then I learned that I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. So I have to branch out and learn new things. So that's why, nowadays it's good to have a trade. I think, college is becoming way too expensive, and all these jobs that are coming, obsolete will have a higher pay raise at the end of the year. So, I encourage people to learn new things. I encourage people to understand and take in knowledge so that it can benefit you in the future.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. I'd have to say always be open-minded, respectful. Don't prey on the weak, but help build them. Also, know your manners. Always someone a chance. I mean, don't let them walk all over you, but always give someone a chance. Always listen to what they have to say. Stay open-minded. Don't ever start a fight, but never walk away from one. And that's really all I have to say.
Cool.
That's something good there, buddy. All right. I've gone by one thing. Like, ask them. I am reckless, but I'm safe. I seen death can go by your life so quick. So I always go by don't hold back. So when you hold back from what you want to do in life, say you don't want to do this, and you're like, oh, I'm scared to kind of do that. I'm scared to do this. Imagine the opportunity you could have just missed. You could have had the best time of your life. So the more things you hold back, the more chances you'll miss with all your friends and your family. Like when I was younger, I got raised up right. I was brought up like Cam said, manners, never walk away from a fight, don't fucking start it, don't do anything stupid. And they always gave me this opportunity to branch out and do new things. And don't be scared of this and don't be scared of that. And I always did, this is two-parter, I always did what I wanted to do that day. Like I wanted to say I wanted to go skydiving right now with Cam and Nils. I'd be like on my computer searching up where to go skydiving near me. That's how I am. I want to do that to have the best time of my life with my friends. Because I don't know how much time all of us have left. Because I've seen that happen. Like my aunt 3 years ago didn't think she was going to die at 50. My pop didn't think he was going to die from this. He always told me, like, I'm either going to get into a car accident or fall off a boat. That's what he always said to me. He didn't want to go out like that. I know no one wants to go out like that. Sorry.
He said, oh,
He goes,
why is this so spicy?
and like, I always just say live your life to the fullest. Like, you never know what other opportunities are out there for you. I don't want to be stuck on a fishing charter boat for the rest of my life. I'm going to college to be a game warden wildlife police officer. Like, I could have been stuck on that boat for the rest of my life because I'm getting paid good money and I can live sustainably on the boat job I have now. But I want to be something different. I want to make a change to the world. I want to help bring the fisheries in Newport back to where they were a couple years ago when I was reeling in 3 40-pounders a day. And I would be out there every day. Now it's hard to catch one. I want to make a change, and I want my kids in the future to have the fun I had when I was a kid with my aunt. That's the way it is. And another thing is, don't fucking back down from anything. If anybody says you can't do this, fucking prove them wrong. That's all I gotta say. Like I've been, oh, do a flip. Oh no, I'll fucking do a flip. Even if I fucking break my shit, I will do a fucking flip. Like I don't care. Don't care about your image. Even if you have a bad image, you represent that shit like a motherfucker. Like, I don't care. Like, so my freshman year, I always cared about my looks. I always want to be like, I always wore a button-down shirt Monday through Thursday and then wore casual on Friday. Then once years started going, I got a mullet my senior year in high school. I got a mullet my senior year in high school. And I fucking ripped that shit. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Fuck you saying? It was like a baseball. It was a baseball.
It was a baseball mullet, dude. I didn't have long enough hair. I did it with like this. So just, I don't know who's gonna watch it, but love you guys.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That was great. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already.
Hold
on.
I'm not taking a picture. I'm trying to get the building bridges part.
I subscribed.
Fine. Awesome. And yeah, I'm gonna upload it right now. So yeah, so you guys can check it out. Okay.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for giving me your time, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, thank you for giving yours. Alrighty.
Thanks for listening to us.
Take it easy.
See ya. Bye.
Love and peace.